Emotionally strong people feel empty. You know that person who is always okay? The one who says, I'm fine, and somehow you believe them? They handle problems. They don't panic. They don't beg. They fix things, carry things, survive things. And at the end of the day, when the room finally goes quiet, they sit on the edge of the bed and feel nothing. Not sad, exactly, just empty. Have you noticed how it's often the strongest people who feel this way? The ones who don't fall apart in public? The ones everyone depends on? Here's the strange part. That emptiness isn't a weakness. It's actually a side effect of being strong for too long. Most people think emotional strength means feeling less. But a lot of the time, it means you learned how to put feelings away. Not because you wanted to, but because you had to. When life didn't give you space to break down, you became the person who kept going. Maybe it started early. You were the child who didn't want to worry anyone, so you said you were okay, even when you weren't. Or you were the one who had to grow up fast because someone else couldn't. So you became calm, responsible, quietly brave. And people praised you for it. They said you were mature, strong, so independent. But no one asked what it cost you. Let me tell you a small story that might feel familiar. You're in a relationship. You care deeply. You show up. You listen. But when you're hurt, you don't make a big deal out of it. You tell yourself it's not that serious. You forgive quickly. You move on. Not because it didn't hurt, but because you don't want to be too much. Over time, something strange happens. You stop expecting comfort. You stop reaching out. You become really good at standing on your own. From the outside, you look unshakable. From the inside, you feel like you're watching your own life through glass. At work, it's the same. You handle pressure. Deadlines don't scare you. When things go wrong, you're the calm one in the room. People trust you with responsibility. But you don't really feel proud. You don't really feel excited. You just feel flat. And sometimes you wonder, why don't I feel happier? Why don't I feel more alive? If this sounds like you, I want to ask you something. How old are you? And where are you watching from right now? And have you ever felt this quiet emptiness even when life looked okay on the outside? Tell me in the comments. I really want to hear your story. There's a simple idea in psychology that explains this, and I'll keep it very human. Some people learn to survive by becoming emotionally controlled. Not cold, not heartless, just controlled. One psychologist once said that when we can't escape pain, we adapt to it. We don't cry louder, we become quieter. So you stop reacting strongly. You stop expecting much. You stop hoping too big. Because hoping too big once hurts too much. And here's the painful contradiction. You are emotionally strong, but emotionally tired. You are calm, but you carry tension in your chest. You're independent, but you secretly wish someone would notice that you're not always okay. You don't feel dramatic pain. You feel emotional numbness. It's like your heart is on low volume. You still laugh. You still care. But the highs don't feel high, and the lows don't feel loud. Everything feels muted. Another small moment you might recognize. Someone asks how you're doing, and you pause for half a second. Not because you don't know what to say, but because you don't know what you feel. So you say, I'm good, and change the subject. Not because you're lying, but because explaining the emptiness feels too complicated. Emotionally strong people often become experts at holding themselves together. They don't want to burden anyone. They don't want to need too much. They don't want to fall apart where others can see. So they carry everything quietly. But the body and the heart remember everything we don't express. It turns into tight shoulders, late nights, overthinking, that feeling of being tired even after sleeping. Sometimes it turns into the thought, why do I feel disconnected from my own life? And that question can feel scary. Here's the part no one tells you. That emptiness is not because you don't feel. It's because you feel deeply, and you learn to protect yourself by turning the volume down.
You didn't become strong because life was easy. You became strong because you had to be. And that strength shaped you in beautiful ways. You notice when others are hurting. You're patient. You listen without judging. You don't make people feel small for struggling. Your pain taught you empathy. Your survival taught you wisdom. But survival mode is not the same as living mode. At some point, the armor that saved you starts to feel heavy. It keeps danger out, yes, but it also keeps joy from fully getting in. And slowly, quietly, you start to crave something you can't quite name. Not excitement, not drama, just feeling real again. If you're still listening, let me ask you another question. Do you feel strong but also strangely empty? Do you feel like you're always the supporter, rarely the supported? If that's you, drop a comment. You're not alone here. The beautiful truth is, emotional strength doesn't mean staying closed forever. It means you have the capacity to open when you feel safe. And learning to feel again doesn't start with big emotional speeches. It starts with tiny, honest moments. Letting yourself admit, today was hard. Letting yourself want comfort without guilt. Letting yourself feel disappointed without telling yourself to be tougher. It starts with allowing softness to exist next to strength. Because you don't have to choose one or the other. You can be brave and still need rest. You can be independent and still want closeness. You can be calm and still have storms inside you. And slowly, when you stop forcing yourself to always be okay, you begin to feel again. Not all at once, not in some dramatic breakthrough, but in small, warm moments. A deeper laugh, a tear that finally comes, a connection that feels real instead of distant. And one day, you realize something quietly powerful. You weren't empty. You were just protecting something very sensitive and very alive. Like a lighthouse standing through endless storms. From far away, it looks cold and still. But inside, there is fire. Steady, bright, patient, waiting for the fog to lift. If this video made you feel seen, even a little, stay here with me. Subscribe, not because you have to, but because there are more late-night thoughts like this coming, and I'd really like to talk to you again. And if you feel comfortable, tell me your age and where you're watching from. I love knowing who's on the other side of the screen. And tell me, do you see yourself in this story? You don't have to be strong all the time here. You can just be human.